Hello, everyone, and welcome to Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal. Tonight will actually be my season finale. It will just be an open talk tonight. We will reschedule Joe Frankie when I come back in August. And like I said, this will be the finale for tonight. And then I'll be working on some stuff for out in the field with some of my team members and going out on location. I've been kind of missing that. So I'm going to take some time and start doing some investigations again instead of just sitting here and doing podcasts. But tonight we have two of my colleagues from All Access Network Television, and we will introduce them, Mr. Len Dorman and Shane McLean.
Hi, people. Tonight. What's going on?
How you doing, Shane?
All right. How are y'all?
I'm doing great. How about you, Len?
Well, I'm doing all right. I would like to say one thing real quick.
All righty.
Anybody who's watching this that saw last Thursday night show, my regular time, I had Sean Ellis on as guest. I apologize for being cut off basically mid-sentence. I was about to close out the show. I was making one last statement, and the show button got pushed to turn it off. Sean did not push the button.
And neither did we.
You can ask him. He will deny he pushed the button. I could not. It's not my StreamYard. It's on the networks. I could not push the button. Don't have a button to push to cut the show off. And Gwen was busy packing for her trip to Savannah.
Right.
So she was packing and folding clothes when the show got shut off. And she was actually watching it, but was not logged into StreamYard, and she had no button to push.
Yeah.
So who had access to the button?
Well, see, the funny thing, it's really weird. I didn't even have the cursor next to it because I was going to shut down the show that night because I was doing the background. And the next thing you know, when Len was talking, all of a sudden it just goes bleep, and all of a sudden the red bar just closes out, and there it goes. And I'm like, what is going on? No reason whatsoever.
Well,
and then I was talking to Sean. This is going to be hard for me tonight, Shane and Sean. But, I was talking about an attachment I had several years ago. Used to come to my house at 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning wanting sex. And I was investigating what is now the Irish Legend south of Chicago. And I was one of the few people that managed to investigate upstairs, which is usually rented out where people actually live. And they had a hallway, which is used as a closet, between one of the bedrooms and the bathroom. And of course, they had the towels in there. One side had clothes hanging in there. And I was watching light anomalies, which I could see them with my naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of elongated, looked like a elongated tadpole in the air. And one of them flew into my hand and disappeared. And I didn't think anything about it. But all of a sudden, for several months, I had a spirit come in. And by the way, I sleep in the buff, so this is fairly easy. Even with my wife sleeping beside me, coming in and wanting to have sex. In the afternoon of the show, I was taking a nap, and I thought I was dreaming about somebody cuddling up behind me, on my right side, cuddling up behind me and putting their arm around me. But I was thinking about it later, I wasn't fully asleep. I thought it was a dream, but it wasn't. It was actually happening. And I'm thinking that was the spirit that I finally got off of me and got the attachment off of me years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe from a ghost box session I had last weekend, found me, tried to start up again a relationship, basically. And when I was talking to Sean about her, she cut the show off.
That's the one.
Mm.
We have Gwen in the house. She is the producer of Access
I
Network.
actually asked over at EchoVox who did it. I got Sean's name, my name, and Gwen's name, all with a female voice. But then I got another female voice and a male voice said the whore.
Mm.
That's interesting.
And that's what this girl was. In the closet back in the 1920s, no, 100 years ago, the desk that was in there that's used for, just stacking towels and whatever was an abortion table in case the prostitutes working there, because it was a speakeasy for the Capones.
Oh, wow.
And this particular prostitute died during a botched abortion.
Mm.
So that's why I had 2 or 3 different voices said the whore.
Wow.
And if you don't want to believe me, it'll be on my Facebook till Facebook deletes it, but it's on my YouTube channel, and YouTube doesn't play those games. They keep it there.
Yeah, mine's all on Facebook and YouTube as well. But like you said, Facebook deletes it after so long now, so they don't allow you to keep it on here anymore. So, but yeah, that's interesting because we were talking about attachments when that actually happened, and all of a sudden.
So, what do you believe what it was? Do you think it was an incubus?
No, I think it was the spirit of this girl that died.
Maybe with an incubus spirit.
That's a possibility.
Possibility.
Because it doesn't exactly have to be 100% full-fledged incubus, but it can. The spirit of an incubus can attach to something that had something similar to it. If that was a sexual driven person, then it can attach to that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Of course, I have known some women who by themselves to have the sexual drive of an incubus.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I've dated a few strippers that they wanted every night.
Yeah.
We got to quit talking about them there lot lizards.
Yeah.
Gwen's gonna push the button and disconnect us this time. We start talking about strippers and whores.
No, I've got the only connection tonight. So if something weird happens, it's going to happen just with mine because it's on my StreamYard this time. But
yeah, Gwen, if you're watching, not this Monday coming, but next, I have the infamous lot lizard Sally as my special guest.
Oh wow!
I don't.
I
don't.
I may have to tune into that show.
The famous lot lizard.
You're gonna have her dancing too, right?
No. I ain't gonna do all that. My wife won't have all that. She doesn't. She doesn't want to see a lot lizard dancing on a live stream.
She would take you and drag you out of the backyard and beat you if that happened.
Yeah.
Heck. So, what do you guys got planned for the rest of the season here? Or do you guys coming up with anything good? Or
well, with us with the Templar, we just we have expanded internationally now with our order. We are in South and West Africa. We're in Australia. We're in the UK. And we are all over in the United States right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So we've been working on recruitment, and we have an order meeting tomorrow. I mean, like literally right after my show tomorrow, we have an order meeting. Like as soon as I get off of the show, I got to go right into the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to Australia, or are you just doing all this over the internet?
Well, we have recruited people for over there. So when they set orders up over there. There's people there that have the authority to do recruiting and stuff like that. So, eventually, pastor and I, because I'm the associate pastor for Knights Templar Unity Church, and he is the senior pastor. So if any two would go to these places, would be him and I.
Okay. When you go down there, can you do me a favor? I've always wanted to know, because I've heard this as a rumor, that when you flush a toilet in Australia, it swirls in the opposite direction than they do here. And I was wondering if you could do a video of that to prove that it swirls around either one direction or the other.
I've got a friend of mine that's in, you might know her, Sean, Christy Rico.
No.
She's a good friend of mine. She is Australian, and I'll get her to video that, because she lives like in the Wonka of Australia, like where there might be kangaroos and koalas and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have Miss Letriana Brown in the house. She is the CEO of All Access Network Television. Thanks for
Mama Lee, how you doing?
She is the boss lady.
Yeah. Tonight we have open chat, and like I said, the ones that was looking for Joe Frankie, we will reschedule him later in August when I come back from a break, because I am going to take a break before season 3 starts. So we will get him rescheduled back when I come back in August. So
yeah, have him maybe as your opening show.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. Like I said, when I come back in August, like I said, I got to have a break, because I've been going at this since January of 2024, just nonstop. And I probably did about 500 podcasts already.
Wow.
So I just need a breather and get out in the field again and hang out with the crew and do some investigations. I've been itching to go out, and it's nice out now, so I got to get them rounded up, and we got to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that bug satisfied when I was down in New Orleans in April. I did some investigations at the Cajun Con in Lafayette, and then I spent 2 nights in New Orleans, and I was investigating every night. I was either at the hotel in one of the courtyards, investigating a very haunted hotel, the St. Pierre, and also investigated behind the Voodoo House.
What's her name? Laveau or something like that?
Marie Laveau. This is not her place. This is another house. Marie Laveau is an actual spiritual friend of mine. She's taught me a few tricks. But and also given me permission to investigate New Orleans as heavy or as often as I want to.
She's like the queen of voodoo, right?
It kind of goes back and forth. Some people think she was the great voodoo priestess, but there's some people that say she was not involved with voodoo at all. She was a hairdresser. And you've been in barbershops, and everybody's kind of talking freelance in barbershops. Go into a beauty parlor, and it's worse. And she was doing the very top echelon of wives and concubines and whatever there in New Orleans. So she was getting all the top society gossip. And some people say that's where her power was. Not voodoo, but she knew where the skeletons were buried, who had skeletons in their closet. She knew all this about the upper elite of New Orleans at the time.
Yeah, I also heard that New Orleans, they really don't look at it like black and light magic or white magic, whatever it is. It's it's voodoo what they have there, but it's good and evil, so, and it goes by emotion. Like if they have something bad going on and somebody does something bad, then they return the favor something bad. if somebody does something good, they return the favor of doing something good. I mean, I don't really know, but I know that LeBeau had her hands in some cemetery work and a lot of things that she used to do through those cemeteries over there.
Yes, it's kind of a eye for an eye. You kind of mixed magic with Catholicism, and that's the crossover you got in New Orleans. Of course, it all comes from Haiti and some of the other islands.
Yep.
And it combined a lot of West African religious beliefs, and then it got combined with Catholicism, and that's what you ended up with in New Orleans.
Yep. Yeah. And see, New Orleans is right there. I live in the Low Country. I live in Beaufort, South Carolina. I'm next to the Sea Islands like Port Royal, St. Helena Island, Fripp Island, Hilton Head. All those little sea islands are right here. And
beautiful area.
They have it's not voodoo around here. They celebrate. They do hoodoo. They do hoodoo around here, and it's really, really rich around these parts here.
Yeah, didn't you have a guest on your show one night talking about voodoo and hoodoo? Shane?
I'm trying to think. Who would that have been?
I mean, it's been a while. It's probably been a couple months ago. But that was a real interesting topic. Whoever she was on, and they were talking about, like you said, the voodoo and the hoodoo and the difference between it, and how they perform their rituals and ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah, they it's definitely different here. You know, like you'll come to the Low Country here, and you'll see people with the blue bottles on the trees. You know, they keep them out in the yard or whatever because they believe that if they come with something up, that they can cast a spirit into the bottles to trap them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all over the place around here. There's so many around here, and a lot of that is Gullah, which is Geechee, and they have a very unique way of talking. Like they say, like, "Boy, mess you up, boy." Like it's kind of got like that Louisiana, West African, French and African kind of lingo,
right?
You know, together. But yeah, it's pretty interesting around here, really.
Technically, they use those bottles like a divot box, right?
Well, no. They hang them up like a lot of times the trees that don't produce a lot of leaves and stuff like that. You know, they put these clear blue bottles on the ends of the limbs.
Okay.
You know, and then they come out there. You know, so any kind of negative, you know, spirit like here, for instance, somebody can have a greenhouse like on the outside. Mm-hmm. And they'll paint the shutters green because of what can possibly come in and out of the windows.
Ah, gotcha.
So that you know, and they're real big with using Cajun salts and stuff like that in the windows, on the door frames, stuff like that. There's some really superstitious people around here.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard of some of the stuff like they've done, like I said, with the voodoo and the hoodoo.
Yeah.
And especially when you get overseas, and I've heard that people actually throw up bugs sometimes because somebody will put a hex or a curse on them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
and they do like the guy that we have, his name's AIO. He's in West Africa, and he sent us pictures the other day of an Islamic group that had come through with 21 of his relatives, and he sent us pictures of his relatives laid out dead on the ground from where ISIS came in and just wiped out the whole village.
Oh, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Over there in Africa, though, like the Islamic, the Islamic like jihads are a lot meaner, a lot more like drastic, you know, in their ways of handling things than they were even overseas. I have heard that a lot of those factors around there, that they have access to military guns, military things, and they're able to actually go into rural villages, and if you don't you don't you don't take on and become who they want you to be, then they wipe you out. They give you a choice, and or they wipe you out. And 21 of this brother's family that lived in this village got completely wiped out.
Wow.
That's terrible.
And this is like a week ago.
Wow.
That's just terrible.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's just hard for most Americans to fathom.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but imagine living in a predominant Muslim-oriented area and being a Christian.
Not easy.
It's not. And that's the thing, is all 21 of his family relatives, they were all Christian. And if they pronounced their faith in front of Islamic jihadists,
yep.
then they got killed in their name of God. So those 21 people died as martyrs for Christ. They are in the highest ranking of crownship next to the apostles, you know, in near God, are the martyrs, because they're willing to give their life, you know, for a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a shame when you can't have your free religion or freedom of speech or being able to do what you want. And like I said, you know, people actually take for granted of it here, you know, from some of the stuff they do. But we're very fortunate here living where we're at, that we have that freedom, and a lot of people sacrificed their lives for it.
During the Iraqi and Afghanistan war, I knew a family of missionaries that left for a church and went over there into some really, really hot areas. And they were helping families because food became famine, medical, you know, they brought a doctor, they brought stuff over there. They were really helping people. Well, because they were helping people, they were doing a lot more than what their government would have done over there. Then people were really taking a liking to these missionaries, and they were listening to the missionaries, and the families were turning from their Islamic belief into Christian belief. Well, then jihadists would hear about it, and they would come through and beat the dad up in front of everybody. And they said, you have three choices. You either pledge allegiance to Allah, disregard your faith, or watch your family get killed in front of you. And they put a blood marking on their front door.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Like I said, you know, that's extremists doing terrible things. And
I've got a can that was given to me by an Iraqi soldier. And you guys who support Coca-Cola and stuff like that, will you hand me that can? Yeah. I'm gonna show you this can, guys. I'm gonna show you this can, and I want you to see what's on this can. And you remember when Coca-Cola was putting names on their bottles and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, they didn't do it with the cans. They didn't do it with the cans. But watch this. What do you see on that can?
What the hell?
What do you see on it?
Oh, I see it. It says ISIS.
That says ISIS.
Mhm.
They were bringing, Coca-Cola was bringing sponsored Coca-Cola products to jihad terrorists. There's your proof.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
That's, well, you'd be surprised. A lot of businesses support stuff like that over there, and it's a shame that they do it. And we're Americans, and the freedom of doing what we want is great. And like I said, people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And but you're living here in America, and they're forcing your religion on somebody like they did over there. We have that right to choose the religion we want here, and I guess we're very fortunate to be able to do that. But it's terrible when people like that happened. And I mean, I know some stories. Military.
When your God tells you to murder people for his name, you're serving the wrong God.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that 100%. I mean, I know some, like I said, I know some military guys that's been over there, and some of the things that they've told me, and I just got to shake my head. I mean, it's wow. It's a whole new world over there.
Yep.
And I do got to say one thing, since we're kind of talking a little bit of odds and ends, and especially things going on right now. I know we got a lot of military people out right now and on active duty right now. I wish them all well and safe return, because I know
we salute you. We salute you as Americans. We salute you as fellow people who believe in what you're doing. We salute you for the freedom that you give us, and we salute you for sacrificing your life so that we could have freedom over here. And we thank you for that.
Amen.
Most definitely. Like I said, I know they're out there and they're in active duty right now in some places. And I just heard somebody had some missiles shot at them. And, like I said, I hope them all a safe return.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The missile shooting is just getting started.
Yeah.
With the bombing that took place yesterday, they're going to come back. They've got military bases. They're in the Straits of Hormuz, I believe I'm trying to pronounce that correctly. Probably not. But the fear is they could, not literally, but they could figuratively shut that down. 60% of the world's oil flows through those narrow straits. And the whole thing borders Iran. All they have to do to raise the gas prices in the United States $1 a gallon is to damage one ship one time with one rocket, and their insurance would double for the ships. Most captains are not going to want to take their ship through there. Most companies will tell their captains not to sail through there.
Yeah.
And then the gasoline price everywhere goes up a couple of dollars a gallon.
Yep.
So they can shut that down.
Yep.
They figuratively. You get it where the captains won't sail. If the captains won't take their ship through there, it's closed. For all intents and purposes. And the insurance companies could close it down because, like I said, if they just damage one ship, they'll tell the oil company, said, look, your insurance per ship is going up.
Almost definitely. Like I said.
And that will be passed right on to us as a price increase.
Yeah, see, that's another bad thing. The scamming that's going on across everything, the taxation and everything else. It's ridiculous. I mean, they know where it's coming from. They know what is happening, but we, the people, get punished for it. And that's a terrible thing.
Yep.
And it's getting old. I mean, even where I live at right now, just recently, my property taxes went up at least 9 times in the whole time I've been here, and it's getting ridiculous.
Well, you guys think about it. You guys think about the trickle down effect, because if you're taxing anybody over $400,000 at one time, then anybody that makes over $400,000, you're overtaxing them. Then those same people, those same companies will then take every one of their products and put a tax on all those products, and then it trickles down to the consumers like us.
Oh yeah. And it's something that nobody ever realizes. You know, you take a bar of soap, how much technology can you put in a bar of soap? I mean, they've made it the same for years, but they're charging you an arm and leg for it. So they're making over 100% profit on it.
Yep.
Yeah, the profits, and I used to work at a soap factory. Funny you brought that up. But the profits are tremendous with soap, because you can make a lot of bars of soap really quickly with a minimum of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the particular plant I worked in, there was me, my immediate boss. She was a white female. The guys, maintenance people, there were 3 of them. They were white. Everybody else was, there was a few legal Latinos working there, but 95% of the employees in the plant were illegal. We found this out when the manager of the place they built a second location, same town, and the wife took over that location. At the April Fool's Day joke, she calls her husband and tells her, this was way back in the mid 1990s, said that the federal government was raiding them looking for illegals.
Oh.
He let that out. Okay, immigration is coming over. They hit the other place. They're coming here. All of a sudden, there's about 5 or 6 of us on this huge building, factory floor, by ourselves, looking around, wondering why were all the machines suddenly off, and why was everybody out back of the building, jumping out of the loading bay docks, running for the woods.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Where do you live?
Well, that's where I used to live, Columbus, Georgia.
Hey, I was about to tell you, in Wadley, Georgia, there is a big, like wood factory there. In Wadley, Georgia, one of the biggest ones on the southeast that did get it, and 4 immigration cars around the same time pulled up there, and as soon as they did, they set an alarm or whatever in the back, because they had a bunch of illegals that were off paper. They worked there. And all the machines shut down, and you saw them taking off back through the woods.
Yeah, I don't think that soap factory is even open anymore. I think when they started cracking down on them, they had to close. They were a Central American company, and what they would do is, like I've told a lot of other people, most migrants don't walk across. Illegal immigrants don't walk across the border. They don't climb the fence. They don't cut the fence. They don't dig under the fence. They come over in trucks. They come over in company trucks, where the companies go down there. They drive their truck, delivering stuff down into Mexico, and they bring stuff from their factory from Mexico, and they've got a few things on the sides and some stacked up stuff in the back of the truck, and they've got 20 to 30, 40 illegals hiding inside the truck. That's where most of them come over. They're trucked in. And a board, I don't care if you put 1,000-foot tall fence that goes 1,000 feet in the ground, you can't stop every truck. We don't have that many people. You'd have to have 1 million personnel on the Mexican border to check every cotton picking truck coming over the border,
Right.
because you're going to have lanes. You got to have 100, 150 lanes of trucks coming in to dedicate the traffic, because you've only got 4 to 5 places, 4, 5, 6, even 10 lanes coming in to check the trucks. For people inside the truck, you're going to have traffic backed up for weeks and tens of miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just don't have the time
Yeah.
or that many people to check those trucks. That's where most of them come in. It's trucks.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only way to stop it is, like I say, you gotta have several hundred lanes, and you got to have 4 or 5 personnel per lane checking trucks. So it's not going to do any good to have a machine there by itself, because you drive a truck through the X-ray machine, it picks up people. Unless you got a person there to stop the truck, they're just going to keep on driving.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a man checking, and then you're going to have a bigger man with a big old gun, just in case that when the first guy says stop, they don't stop.
Yeah.
And in case they don't stop, then you got to have a car to chase them down. And that's the only way to stop it. But you're talking billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Absolute billions.
Yep.
And then we go back to Sean's talk about taxes going crazy. You start talking about spending $2, $3, $4 billion to fully secure the rear border. Sean's really going to be complaining about his taxes, because it'll be totally unreasonable.
Yeah, well, they were unreasonable for the last few years, and it's getting worse anyhow. Especially in the town that we live in, and people are making promises to make super domes and sports domes here, and we don't need them, because the fact is they've already got new ones here that ain't that old, and now they're trying to make new super domes for schools here. And it wouldn't be so bad if they would go back to the old ways, like we did when we were in school. When you had a track meet, you earned medals. You busted your ass to make the top 3 to get a medal.
Right.
You worked out, you participated, and you busted your ass to be number 1. And if you wasn't in the top 3, or at least the top 5 in some of the big meets, you didn't get no participation trophy, because you had to work out to get. You had to get and work out to be the numero uno.
Yeah.
And today, sports is not even what it used to be. Football's not even what it used to be. It's just, everything's just gone blah. It's not like the old days when football games are football games, and now it's like you can see the deliberate calls on the field, especially in pro football games. It's terrible.
Well, see, I can't comment on anything you're saying, because I never had kids.
Yeah.
So I don't pay attention to high school stuff. Nothing, because I've got no involvement. I don't have a dog in that fight, so I don't attend the dog fight.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. My kids are graduated and out of college by now, but like I said, they
still got grandkids coming up.
Yeah, well, when time comes, I ain't got there yet, but when time comes. But like I said, they need to kind of go back to the old style and make you work for what you get, and not just give it to people anymore. And,
I agree.
That's because they have no learning of the fact that they want everything just given to them. And I don't believe in that either.
But one problem that Shane is actually addressing, and by the way, I want to tell you, you're actually addressing 2 of the problems. Well, one of them's in this country. One of them is how we deal with Africa. You are talking about dealing with both of these problems, and I want to compliment you on it. Keep it up. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. If we don't go in and do stuff in Africa Africa is very rich in resources, some of which we do not have in this country. I don't care where you dig.
Very much so.
It doesn't exist here. We need to keep Africa on our side, because if we don't, we hand it to the Chinese. China's got us over the barrel because they've got about 85-90% of the rare earths on the planet.
Right.
And if they tie us up with several other minerals from Africa, because they've got control of that area, they've got us over another barrel. And I don't like being over a barrel, being an American. And the second thing, Shane, you're taking care of is what you're talking about, getting your groups in Australia. I think one of the biggest problems with schools, as Sean was talking about, is nobody has a civics class. And I think that's a cause of a lot of downfall of the United States, and may cause the downfall of the United States. I predicted the United States will not be the 50-state union we now have by the end of this century. Fortunately, I'll be long dead. By the way, Shane, I am 69 years old as of July 3rd.
Wow. Wow.
So it's almost my 69th birthday.
I'll be 48 in July.
Oh, what day?
27th.
27th. Mine's the 3rd.
I was born 7/27/77 at 7 pounds 7 ounces at 7 a.m. in the morning.
That's a lot of sevens. You ever go to Vegas and try to throw some dice a few times on 7? I don't either. But civics is the problem. The JCs, which I was a member of for several years, back in Georgia. Hello, Janet.
Hello, Janet.
Hey, Janet.
It taught civics. It taught speaking in public. It taught how to make a plan, how to carry out the plan, and taught leadership. Most civics people, the clubs, name your club here, the Odd Fellows, the Masons, all those people are taught these things in their different civic organizations, and all of them are hurting for memberships. Yep. Here in Arkansas, where I live now, there is no state JCs. In Georgia, where I used to live, in the early 80s, I was a District 8A director, which meant that Region 8 had 3 districts. I was the A director. And I had 11 chapters under me. And 1/3 of a region, and there was 12 regions in the state. That's how many chapters there were. Last I heard, Georgia had 12 chapters in the entire state. And you see how much they've shrunk.
Yeah.
But anybody who's trying to put any kind of civics lessons, civics clubs, they desperately need to be rebuilt, and we're totally ignoring that.
Yep.
And this trains people to be a better American. You want America to be great, you have to improve the people.
Well, they need to bring back in schools too, industrial arts and home ec and some of that stuff like that. Industrial,
right.
Because
why don't they teach kids how to pay taxes? Why don't they teach kids, about grocery shopping, about bill paying and stuff like that? They never did that. I graduated high school in 95, and I'm telling you, we didn't have that. We had an economics, and we had like a little cooking thing where, what did you call it again, Sean? What did you call it? Home ec? Home ec, yeah. We had a home ec, and but that was it. And then when we got out of school, if you didn't go to college, then you were pretty blind about how to do things on your own.
Oh yeah, well,
but we are the last generation of learning the hard way.
I would say this, I guess I was fortunate because I graduated in 90. And even our ag classes, they taught us how to do stocks and bonds and get in there and do some trading. And then we had home economics, You know, we could write checks and balance the budget, you know, that they would give us and everything else. And like I said, then we had industrial arts. You read tape measures, do blueprints and stuff like that. You don't even do that anymore. And it's bad. I mean, you got people that's coming to work in locations that need to know how to use a tape measure, and they don't even know how to do that anymore.
They don't know how to use a tape measure. They don't know how to write in cursive.
True.
You know, there's so many differences, you know, even in math and, you know, things like that. That was probably one of my worst subjects that I had through school, even in Bible college. I mean, math was just, I didn't, you know, I don't like it. You know, I mean, I don't like, they want to teach you calculus and pre-calculus and trigonometry and stuff like that, you know, outside of having like a graphic arts job, or, you know, if you're, you know, doing things like that, you know, when are you ever going to go into the grocery store and be like, well, you know, the square root of ketchup is mustard -2. You know, I mean, you're never going to do that. So why couldn't we just keep it as simple as possible? You know, addition, subtracting, multiplication, division, fractions, you know, stuff like that. I mean, keep it at that level, you know, but when you start getting into like calculus and trigonometry and stuff like that, man, you lose so many people.
Right.
You know, because you're never going to use it.
Right. You're absolutely not going to use it unless you go to a college and you take some kind of engineering class.
Or something, or you go to a 4 to 6 year college where you do like scientific, like nuclear engineering or something like that. You may use stuff like that then, but in the regular field, in regular life, you're not going to use that.
No,
you know. And
I had college algebra, and I've been in this world almost 69 years. I've never used algebra in real life. Never.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you ever would. I mean, one of the longest, when I took trigonometry in high school, my last final was a teacher handed us one piece of paper, and it had one set of instruction, like one, you know, fractional piece that was on there, and you had to dissect it and write everything out. By the time I was done, you know, breaking everything down, it was 4 pages front and back.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something earlier, Shane, that learning cursive handwriting. I think my youngest daughter, she's 24 right now, and she was one of the last ones to learn cursive. They don't teach it anymore, and that's a shame. And that goes back to something too that I think we can all relate to. All these hieroglyphics and stuff that we see on walls and stuff during investigations, or somebody writing stuff.
Yeah,
you know, that could have been possible Old English or somebody else, and they just quit teaching it back then. So now it's foreign language to us.
They did. And then you got that Common Core math and stuff like that. I mean, I wish they never would have done that to these kids. And I mean, it's like this Common Core stuff. Dylan showed me a problem one time, and he was like, and I gave him the right answer doing it simple. So doing it simple. And he showed me how to get the same answer by dropping this number, moving it over to this side, dropping this number, moving. And I'm like, man, it seems like you guys are complicating this more than you are helping.
Yeah, it is. And I remember my daughter going through some of that because I'd come up with the answer. And then she goes, no, Dad, we got to do it this way. It's the same damn answer. As long as you come up with the right answer, what does it matter?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, if you came up with the answer that you're comfortable finding that answer with, then leave it be.
I came up with the answer in half the time than he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the whole process behind it, because they're wanting to break down even like fraction numbers and stuff like that. They wanted to, take and put numbers on top, put numbers in, then you drop some numbers.
Yeah.
You add these numbers, drop them down, move them over to the right, take the one to the decimal, move it over to the left. And I mean, it's just like, man, you guys are like, you guys are, excuse me for saying, but you're going around the bush to get to the tush. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, they're definitely making it too elongated and complicated, where then people get more confused. Stick with the basics and do it the way it's supposed to.
yeah. I mean, and I think if they would have kept it that way, I think our kids would have benefited a lot more from it.
Oh yeah.
Because like after my son is 20, he'll be 21 this year. As soon as he got out of school, he wanted to go right into full-time work. He wanted to go right in. He didn't want to, and it's because of how their teaching curriculum was his 11th and 12th grade year. And he feared going in, and then him, having to deal with that same stress and stuff like that going into college, to maybe get a job where he could, and I mean, it's not the same anymore. It's really not.
I will tell you this. I actually had the opportunity to talk to a college student here about a year ago. And we sat there and we had a conversation of what they were being taught in school. And he said it's not anything what they're needed to do, and it's nothing that they need in the world, and it's just a bunch of crap. And I believe it, because I've been witness to a few people that their kids have gone to school and they come out and now they're just totally confused with stuff because it's wrong. It's just totally wrong, and it just makes things harder on the world, and it's not any easier. And I know people has been told that what we as parents have taught our kids is a lie. But then again, if I start doing research on stuff, some of the stuff that we were told when we were growing up, I don't think's been right either. And the more we dig into it, being investigators and start digging into it because of our curiosity, we're finding out the truth.
Yeah.
And you can like it, lump it, or leave it, but it's fact.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, it's like you said about like investigators and stuff like that. I mean, good investigators will go into a residential home and turn the family away from saying the demonic word, unless it truly is. But there are still teams out there that will go in, and if something moves, a cabinet slams, a door slams, the first thing that will come out of their mouth is, "Oh, that's demonic."
Yeah, and
please.
There's very little demon out. There's very few demons.
Listen, I work in spiritual warfare. I work in, like I said, I'm a Knights Templar. I'm an associate pastor for Knights Templar Unity Church. I am a Seraphim Knight. We work spiritual warfare and exorcism ministries. And I can tell you this, out of all the cases that we work or anybody works, the percentage that of them being truly demonic is 1%.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
I can believe that percentage. I'll go along with that.
It's 1%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's sad when you've got teams that are rookies that goes in there and says, the demon word, and it's not once you get in there and fix it all.
Well, a lot of them, they came up with Ghost Adventures, and they think that's how it should be done. They've been watching 20 years of Ghost Adventures now, and they go in and think they're qualified to do a private investigation in somebody's home, and they do it like Ghost Adventures, and there's no way they're even close to the right answer.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I do residential cases. I am not a paranormal clergy. I am a clergy that works in the paranormal.
Yeah.
So I not only teach classes to paranormal teams, I work cases, residential cases, all over, and my wife and I do, and we do it a very methodical and theological way of doing a clearing, cleansing, and a deliverance of a house.
Yeah. I mean, I do as well. I mean, when I clear out and cleanse a house, I do it Pacific way, and we have never had a problem with it.
Right.
And as I said, you do it right, and you'll never have a problem with it. But if you do it wrong, and you keep enticing those things to come back, it's going to get worse because you just can't fix it because the people won't help to understand what's going on there to begin with. It's got to take cooperation between the person you're working with and the people there to understand what's going on. And like you said, it's not demonic, and sometimes it could be other things as well.
And your intentions have to be pure too. Your intentions have to be pure when you're doing this. Whatever you're using, your intention has to be on point behind it. I use holy oil. I use holy water. I use frankincense. I use blessed salt from the Dead Sea. I use holy water from the river that Jesus was baptized in. So, I mean, it's not only what I use, but how I use it and the intention that I'm putting behind it when I do.
Yeah.
Because, I'm a very biblical driven person, and the Bible says the greater is he who is in you than he who is in this world. So I know that when I'm facing things that are opposing and doing things like that, and I know that I have that power inside of me to get rid of anything that opposes the belief that I have when I put that intention into it.
Oh yeah. And like I said, even what you speak, what you manifest, it does come out. And if you do a lot of bad manifesting of stuff, you're definitely going to have it in return. And the more you manifest good, it will definitely come back around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys, we are at the top of the hour here. We only got a few minutes left. We'll start with Len here real quick. You got anything coming up you'd like to announce here before we go off?
Well, next Thursday's show is going to be Beth Allen and the Wicked Women Paranormal. I'll be interviewing them for the first time for me. I don't know much about that group, so I'll be interested in learning what they do and how they came about. Then the very next night, I got 2 shows next week. Friday at 7, special day, special time. Mason Meyer will be my guest. And if you don't know who that is, if you look up the Paranormal Rockdown coming up in July, Mason Meyer owns the club where the rock bands will be playing, which is about a 15-minute drive from the paranormal location.
Yep.
And then on my next show, the 3rd, of course, my birthday, Thomas Patrick Gormley and I are going to be drinking buddies, and we're going to have a few drinks. And we're going to invite some people that are appearing at his con on the 12th. So we're going to be talking to them just for a few minutes. We're just going to ask them to come in. They're going to spend about 10 minutes of what you're going to do at the con, and you can leave. So we're going to do a show based on that. Then on Thursday, the 10th, the week of the Connecticut Paracon, I will have Matthew Willis on regular time, 8:30 on Thursdays. He is the official photographer for the Paranormal Rockdown. He'll be taking pictures of the location, and anybody wants any paranormal group going there. Thank you, Janet. Any paranormal group going there, he'll take a picture of whatever room you want the picture taken in. Mm-hmm. Then we got the Paranormal Rockdown on the 22nd on a Tuesday. I'm trying to get together again with Thomas Gormley. He's going to get some friends, a couple of friends of his, in Chicago to go to the alley where John Dillinger was killed. And I'm going to be playing bits and pieces of Manhattan Melodrama, which is the movie that John Dillinger went to see that day. And then at 10:40, and before, and probably after, we're going to be sitting there with ghost boxes, echo boxes, and seeing what we can get. With Thomas being at home, me being here in Arkansas, but having a couple people on site to see if we can contact John Dillinger.
Wow.
On the anniversary of his murder. And I got 2 shows that week on my regular show, regular time. Gwen will be there. She's not going to be there for the John Dillinger event, but on the 24th, she'll be back. And I don't have Bill Hauser. And Bill Hauser is one of the top people in the country for getting results by Ghost Box, Spirit Box, whatever you want to call it, Broken Radio. He's one of the top people that gets results that way. And we will, instead of an interview show like I did last time, about a month ago, we just did an interview on my show. We will be doing the entire show, Ghost Box Sessions, with Bill Hauser on the 24th.
That's awesome.
If you don't know him, he's an amazing man. So do it. Tune into that show, and you'll see some results by Ghost Box. And he seems to get along with Gwen very well. Gwen likes Bill. The 2 of them had met on my show and seemed to hit off a friendship. So it should be an interesting show to watch with the 3 of us in different locations asking questions of a spirit box.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Definitely go check that out. Shane, what about you, my brother?
You guys tune in tomorrow to my show, Bridging the Seen and Unseen on All Access Network television production. I'm having Derek and Alicia McFadden from Eternal Paranormal on there. You guys please tune in. We're starting at 6:30. These are 2 wonderful people, and we're still in the process of bridging the gap between the paranormal and clergy, and that's my goal with my podcast, and that's what I'm reaching to do. Also, please go check out our paranormal page at Outer Realms Paranormal. Go check that out, and also check out Knight Templars Unity Church. That's on Facebook, and Order of the Archangels. That's our order for Knights Templar. So please go check those out. We got some things coming up that we're ready to let everybody know, and we're looking forward to it. So you guys tune in tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I will say this: Alicia and Derek are a couple of amazing investigators. I've actually teamed up with them several times, and actually at the Rock Island Roadhouse, we actually got some pretty great evidence that night as well. And we even got brought up in a book, so that was really cool that happened when we investigated the Rock Island Roadhouse together. So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
They'll definitely be great guests on your show tomorrow night for sure, Shane.
Yeah.
And I will tune in for that.
Thank you.
I will do this real quick. I'm not even going to drop you guys down because tonight's just open talk, but I will start out with this right now for our first commercial. And I'm going to help out Thomas Gormley here. And this is the Paracon he's going to be at. So check this one out, guys.
All right.
Definitely go check out the Connecticut Paracon. That's going to be a great place to meet a lot of great people there as well. And Thomas Patrick Gormley and the team from All Access Network Television will also be there. Definitely go check them out too as well. Then we have the Paranormal Rockdown that we've all been talking about here for a while. So I will run that commercial here because I got the new one. Gwen downloaded it for me. So here we go.
Join us for the Paranormal Rockdown. We kick off the event Friday, July 18th from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Main Street Music in Brooklyn, Wisconsin, where we feature bands Left on Red, Switchblade Saturdays, Etched in Embers, Fiction We Create, January, Again We Rise, and our headliner, Green Jelly. Saturday, July 19th, starting at 11 a.m. at Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin, we have our Paracon featuring Dave Schrader, Sam Beltrusis, Scotty Rourke, Dustin Perry via Zoom, Sarah Lamos, Nick Simons, Kenneth Drake, Stream Beacon TV, Dark Realm TV, and over 30 more great guests you won't want to miss. We have over 40 vendors, speakers, workshops, gallery readings, and so much more. A special thank you goes out to each of our sponsors. Get your tickets before they sell out at paranormalrockdown.com, and we hope to see you at the Paranormal Rockdown.
That's going to be a great Paracon right there.
Yeah,
all that crammed into one day. And you get to investigate Broadhead Manor if you bought the ticket for it that night, with each investigation being led by one of the celebrity paranormal investigators that were just listed.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of great people that's going to be there. I know quite a few of them there. And I've also had the opportunity to investigate Broadhead Manor about 3 times already. And it's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely worth going to check out. And Bill Walter and his amazing guy that actually owns the place. And definitely go check out Broadhead Manor.
Remember, don't sell Thomas short on his Connecticut con.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a lot of great guests there. I've met several of the guests that were there. And he's got some fantastic guests. Kenneth Drake had him on my show just about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy, and he's going to bring in some people up here to Connecticut.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Drake's going to be at the Paranormal Rockdown as well.
Yes, he is. So he's going to be at both of them. Just like the best producer in the business, Gwen, is also going to be at both of them.
Yeah, I will be there at the Rockdown as well. So here we go. The commercial for our team as well. Here we go. All Access Network Television. Yeah. All Access Network Television is actually growing quite a bit. We actually have Len Dorman that just joined the crew and his show, along with a few others that's coming as well. And you got Shane and I show on here as well. And you've got Gwen, the powerhouse producer of All Access Network Television. And you also have Miss Lee Brown, that's the CEO. All great people. Definitely go check out the network. It's definitely worth seeing, and they've got a lot of great shows on here as well. So, guys, I'm going to be taking a break. So I will be in the background here for the next couple months. If you guys need me or holler, I will be here. And if I go out on an investigation, I'll go live. And but I'm going to take a break until probably about the end of August. So
A well-deserved one too, sir.
I'm going to get out with the team and do some more investigation because I definitely miss it. And like I said, even between now and then, you might see me pop up with a live investigation just on the spot, depending on where we're at. But you guys all have a great weekend. And everybody that's in the military, be safe, come home. And also, I'm out of here. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Everybody,
Take care.
take care.
Have a great weekend, everyone.